Joined now by Senator Johnny Isakson, Republican from Georgia, chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee and the Ethics Committee as well. So, Senator, Democrats have seemed to turn this into kind of a symbolic move overnight and into today. I want to ask you, in your opinion, was it the right move for Senator McConnell to silence Elizabeth Warren overnight?
Well, you know, they're trying to make a point, and we're trying to confirm an appointee. So there's a difference in the two motives. I think what McConnell did was right, and I certainly respect them.
You do think he did what was right?
And I do respect them for what they're doing.
Respect Democrats for what
Sure.
they're doing? So why not let them speak?
Well, that was, you know, we have a Rule 19 for a purpose. And I was not on the floor, and I didn't hear the statement that was made that was disparaging. So I'm not going to get into commenting on something I didn't hear. But certainly the leaders are within his right to make the motion. And certainly everybody should respect the rules of the Senate.
You called it, I believe, in the AJC, your hometown paper, self-serving for these Democrats, some of them disappointing to you. But should they still have the opportunity to get out there and to read, for example, a letter or to speak their mind?
Everybody should be able to speak their mind.
Despite the fact that you think it's disappointing?
Well, I'm not the ultimate arbiter of this. The Senate's 51 members of the Senate will make that decision, not one.
I got to ask you about another cabinet confirmation that sparked some controversy, which is Andy Puzder now for Labor Secretary. Democrats point to his reluctance to raise the minimum wage, for example. He admitted he employed a housekeeper who was not actually authorized to work here in the U.S. Are you prepared to support his nomination at this point? I'm
prepared. I've already talked to him once prior to any of the information coming out about the housekeeper. He is an outstanding appointee given his experience as a franchisor and given what he's done in business. He'd be great to be over the Labor Department. There is a legitimate question with regard to the person that was hired in terms of why taxes weren't paid, first of all.
An issue that has sunk other nominees in the past.
And second of all, whether or not he knew or when he knew that she was not a legal immigrant in the United States of America. I intend to get to the bottom of that before I make any final decision.
If you are not satisfied with his answers on that, is that going to affect
I'm going to make a final decision when I get satisfied with the information I get that I've sought from them.
Somebody who did not have a lot of drama around his confirmation was David Shulkin, of course, passed through, I believe, your committee unanimously.
Right.
Correct. Do you see that as a function of the urgency to fix the issues that are happening at the VA? What do you attribute that to?
I think it's the respect we all have for the men and women in uniform of the United States of America and those who fought and sacrificed, the veterans. And I think I'm awfully glad the committee, of its own volition, not because we ask it to, but because every member respects our veterans, had handled that Shulkin interview and will handle the passage of Mr. Shulkin as Secretary expeditiously and quickly and bipartisanly.
And talking about something that needs to happen expeditiously and quickly, the hiring, the filling of these thousands of vacancies, essentially, in the Department of Veterans Affairs. There's a hiring freeze, as you know, put in place by President Trump. There are some exemptions at the VA. Do you believe there should be more exemptions, that these positions should get filled quickly?
The exemptions that we asked for and we have already received were the exemptions we knew we needed right away in terms of medical personnel. If there's others that we become aware of that are necessary, we will ask for them.
Have you talked to the president about this and about the urgency?
I talked to the president about it. We've talked to members of the White House staff, but not the president himself.
Are you satisfied with how they're responding?
They've been very supportive, and the president's been very supportive of our veterans from the beginning of his campaign, not just his presidency.
We saw the president earlier this morning speak to a group of law enforcement officials, first responders and others here in Washington, not far down Pennsylvania Avenue. And he took some time in the beginning of his speech to speak in what some have called a rather extraordinary way about the Court of Appeals that heard his lawsuit on the immigration executive order. He said he didn't want to call them biased, but he still raised questions about that possibility. It almost seemed like a preemptive strike. Is that appropriate for a president to make those kinds of comments publicly?
I think it's become obvious since the inauguration on the 20th, but really since he began his campaign 18 months before the 20th, Donald Trump is going to say what's on his mind. He's going to say it the way he wants to say it, and it's unfiltered. I don't think that's going to change.
Do you think he respects the judiciary?
I think he respects the judiciary. I think he also has a hearty respect for his own opinion as well.
Is that a conflict?
Not yet.
Will it be?
Could be.
When?
If I was smart enough to know that, I'd be a higher pay grade than I am now.
Senator Isakson, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you being here with us and joining us here at Russell. Thank you.